If you don't have balance, everything else is gonna start falling apart at some point. And really the overall message here is that once we start changing and working on ourselves in all these different areas, intentions, state of mind, balance in life, self-love, etc., that starts reflecting in our external situations. What kind of people we attract, how we behave towards other people in situations. Hey guys, this is Sygula from TruthTheory.com. Welcome to another episode of True Spirituality. Topic for today is how your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. If you want to understand why some things in your life happen the way they are, this video is a good start. What I'm about to share is very important, and it's a big subject that is hard to compress into a short video. I'll do my best to summarize it in a few minutes. Not everything will apply to everyone. Each case is unique. Keep that in mind. You know, as with any rules, there are exceptions. So there are more areas that I won't be going into here, but at some point I might do another video where I'm gonna explore other principles and ideas. So here are some of the most important principles that are part of our inner world and manifest in our outer world. So number one is self-love. Now, self-love is a very important area that doesn't get as much attention as needed. And it really has to do with how we perceive ourselves internally. Do you accept yourself the way you are? Or are you having all sorts of discouraging thoughts? Like, I'm not good enough, I'm not wealthy enough, I'm not confident enough, I'm too fat, I'm not good looking. You know what I mean, right? You know, I've seen over and over how people who lack self-love keep attracting people that treat them the same way as they treat themselves. Some of those people might be very caring, compassionate, and kind, and you would expect that this kind of person would get some appreciation from others. But very often, because they put others first and ignore themselves, this is what is reflected towards them. As they say, you cannot pour out of an empty cup, right? So, for example, one time I was mentoring someone who initially just told me that her mother didn't treat her well, her husband didn't treat her well as well, and then my first thought was like, okay, this is probably something to do with self-love, because if it reflects in different relationships, that could be the problem. And then when I started talking to this person one-on-one, I learned that indeed this person had issues with low self-esteem, lack of self-love, etc. Sometimes you can already know what is the root cause when you see the symptoms, when you start observing the environment of someone who lacks self-love. You might actually understand what's going on inside of them. How people treat them can reflect in how they treat themselves. Another thing is that these days a lot of narcissistic behavior is confused with self-love. These things are quite different. Narcissists will often have inflated perception of self-importance, and this is often fueled by overblowing their positive qualities and turning a blind eye on weaknesses. And in reality, this is not self-love. They just try to camouflage their narcissism with self-love. Number two, your state of mind. Your state of mind can have a massive influence on what kind of people and situations you attract to your life. For example, someone who is constantly complaining, focusing on negative, getting angry very easily, can keep attracting situations that hold similar blueprint. And sometimes these situations can seem unrelated, but actually they are related. So let me explain what I mean. Let's say you are a chronic complainer and you attract a partner that is an alcoholic. And you might think these two things are completely unrelated, but actually, because you have a form of dysfunction or imbalance, you attract someone who also has a form of imbalance. And actually they have similar blueprints. So both are pathological in nature, both are a form of imbalance that a person has to work on, and both are a form of self-sabotage. They might appear as completely unrelated, but actually they hold the same frequency. And the more you work on yourself, keep yourself in balance, the more likely you'll attract people who are also more balanced. And on the other hand, the more you are in the state of negativity, the more you become like a magnet attracting negative people, negative situations, etc. Sometimes you have situations where people might be very positive and optimistic, but they keep attracting negative people or negative situations or a lot of drama. And it could be that, for example, they lack self-love. So sometimes one area can be okay and you lack somewhere else and you still keep attracting negative situations. As I said, this is a pretty complex theory, so there will be exceptions to rules depending on individual cases. Number 3, repetitive patterns. Someone said, if you always do what you always done, you will always get what you always got, right? We often tend to repeat behaviors and patterns, and then we are surprised when we attract the same scenario, the same situation, the same kind of person into our lives. Sometimes the people we attract resemble each other, they look alike. New boyfriend, but the same personality. Ever happened to you? So this is most likely because of what's happening inside of us is reflected in what we are getting. And a big problem here is that a lot of people might think that your specific actions or inactions are not related to the outcome you are getting, but very often they are actually linked, but we do not understand how these things are linked. Okay, so let me explain what I mean. So let me give you this example. Let's say you desire a romantic relationship, monogamous relationship, but you're doing something that is completely the opposite, meaning that, you sleep with random people or one-night stands, open relationships, this kind of stuff. Because this is diametrically opposite, and you put effort into this area, you keep attracting more and more of the same that you actually keep focusing on. So you think it's not related, but actually this particular behavior is preventing you or making it much more difficult for you to get what you actually want. And another thing is that very often we don't see our own behaviors and patterns, or we see them partially, or they are just so normal to us that we don't really pay attention. So for example, you might be someone who is actually hurting other people because of your personality or maybe some comments or some kind of behaviors, etc. But because it's just so normal to you, it's a part of your personality or your behavior, you don't really pay much attention to it. And for example, you might have a family member or a friend who starts avoiding you or ignoring you, and then because you don't understand why they are ignoring you, and this has to do with you, what you are doing, but because you are not understanding that you have this kind of behavior or you don't see it, then you might think there's something wrong with them. But in reality, they might just not want to hurt you, or afraid to tell you the truth, or they're gonna think you're gonna be hostile to them if they're gonna tell you the truth. So you might have these kind of behaviors that you keep repeating and you don't even notice how they actually damage the outcome you are getting. And number 4, it's intentions. And I made another whole video only about intentions. So if you haven't watched this video, check out my vlog 06. The title is Why Setting Intentions is So Important. Everything in our lives comes down to intentions. Some of your intentions are pure, other ones are ego-based. Every day you make decisions and every day you have some intentions. Why do you do what you do? And intentions are again like a form of a blueprint. And this blueprint now attracts people and situations that hold the same blueprint. So for example, you're starting a business and you either do it for the money only, or you do it because they are passionate about a particular service or a product, right? And now, depending on the situation, if you're only into it for the money, then you might actually, this is the blueprint, and you might start attracting people that are also gonna do everything for the money on it, like a partner, for example. That's gonna create a lot of negative consequences for you and for your business. So this is an example. Another example could be, let's say you're a guy and want to attract a very hot, good-looking girl. And because this is one of your key requirements, let's say, and because it's a bit superficial, now you might attract that, but the same going to be reflected towards you. So you might attract someone who actually is also very superficial and just going to interested in your money, for example. And again, check out Vlog 6, why setting intentions is so important, where I go into details about this particular topic. Number 5, balance in the most important areas of your life. So let's say we all have these couple of different areas in our lives that are very important. So for example, health, right? Physical, mental. Right? Money, business, or your job, right? Relationships, romantic relationship, friends, family, right? And then leisure, rest, hobbies, etc. So you have these couple of different areas, and let's say you live out of balance completely and you only work and do nothing else, right? I used to do that quite a lot. And this is a pretty common thing among a lot of people. They focus all their energy on work and they forget that there are a couple of other areas where they don't put enough energy to, right? So now, for example, you become stressed, your health gets neglected, your relationships are deteriorating. And in the end, you might have a lot more money, but you're gonna spend a lot of that money on fixing your health, a lot more money on maybe paying for your divorce, etc., right? So if you don't have balance, it's literally you're taking out from one area and you're putting it into the other area, and now the whole structure collapses because everything is codependent, everything is linked. If you don't have health, you cannot do anything else. If you don't have money, you cannot do anything else. If you are overworked and stressed, etc., because you put way too much energy on work side, money side, then your relationships are disappearing or deteriorating, and that impacts everything else. Sometimes we have to push for a period of time, but you don't do it all the time. Because you need to recover, you need to rest, and you need to have balance. If you don't have balance, everything else is gonna start falling apart at some point. And really the overall message here is that once we start changing and working on ourselves in all these different areas, intentions, state of mind, balance in life, self-love, etc., that starts reflecting in our external situations. What kind of people we attract, how we behave towards other people and situations. Let me know what you think about these ideas, and if you are enjoying these videos, please share them with others, like, comment. Please let me know in the comments section what do you think about some of these concepts. And if you are new to this channel, please subscribe. We're posting a lot of videos now. Until next time. Hey guys, Mike here. Just a quick note. I'm currently offering one-to-one mentoring and coaching through our Patreon page. So as some of you know, I've been interested in personal development for 15 to 17 years, and during this time, I really spent enormous amounts of energy into researching and practicing different techniques. So I'm offering one-to-one video calls through Patreon, and this is really affordable as well. So, some of the things that I can help with are to do with starting an online business, building personal brand, increasing happiness, improving mental and physical health, stress reduction, building confidence and self-esteem, finding your passion, discovering your life purpose, spiritual development and going through spiritual awakening, and many other things. So check it out. It's patreon.com/TruthTheory. It's patreon.com/TruthTheory.